Welcome back to Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm not sure, we had some technical difficulties. I'm not sure how much of what I said you heard during the first segment of today's show, but our guest now with us is Chen Lin, my partner, Chen Lin, who publishes a newsletter called What is Chen Buying, What is Chen Selling? He's had a fantastic track record over the last number of years investing money, and his newsletter has done very well for many of his subscribers. Welcome, Chen. It's really good to have you with me today.
Thank you, Jay.
Really good. Chen, I know that you have been pretty bearish on gold most of the year, recently turning somewhat more bullish. What are your thoughts right now on gold, and why have you sort of turned a bit more bullish than you were earlier in the year?
Oh, hi, Jay. I never bearish on gold. I mean, I'm just trying to find the bottom. You know, it's pretty difficult. As
Mm-hmm.
3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, I started telling my subscriber to sell down gold miners, to underweighting gold miners. I mean, moving other sectors.
I recall. Yes.
Because I feel, gold could have some corrections, in which it had a very brutal, actually much worse than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been waiting for the sign, the bottom of the whole sector, and I think maybe, there could be a very good chance that there could be a bottom here. It would be a bottom. I'm not sure it's the bottom, but, it could bounce. We could have a very good bounce in the next few months.
Mm-hmm. I think the one exception in the precious metals sector, though, that you've not been as bearish on is the platinum group metals. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I've been quite bullish. Actually, throughout in the past few years, the major holding has been the platinum metal group, palladium, platinum. Actually, this year I have done fantastically in palladium, particularly palladium trading. It just went up so much recently. Actually, I sold most of my position, but it has been a very good year.
Mm-hmm. And I guess it really comes down to supply and demand. Maybe could you discuss a couple of those factors that really make you bullish on the PGMs?
Right, most PGM by two countries, one South Africa, one Russia, right? So, and the PGM, palladium used for cars emission control, which is reduce pollution. I mean, China is most polluted. It's one of the most polluted next to India. So they will require to increase the car emission standard, and with such a huge automobile market in China, if they, to tighten the requirement for the car emission, the palladium, instead of palladium price would go much higher than the current price.
Mm-hmm. And with respect to the supply, I guess South Africa's had its problems, obviously, and I heard even that Russia was buying some platinum or palladium off the markets. I don't know if that's true or not. But are there some producers or some new mining companies, some companies that you have your eyes on that you've done well in, or have you just speculated and done well in the metals themselves, trading the metals?
I've done both metals and mining. So this year I've done very well in metal, especially, in the future market. But the mining, I did quite well at the earlier part when South Africa had strike, specifically Stillwater, which is, palladium platinum miners producer. I also have Wellgreen, which is twice. I was very impressed with what they have. So that's a junior. Wellgreen hasn't made much money for me yet, but I think it will eventually because a huge deposit, grade is very high. There's a lot of misperceptions by the market to the deposit, and eventually they will clear out.
Yeah, we've Wellgreen, I should mention, is a sponsor to this show, and we've had Greg Johnson on this program to talk about the project. You and I both visited that project the first time, but you were up there a second time, and it's a much more advanced project now than it was, and I think the management has changed, I believe, for the better since those days, Chen. So it's certainly one that I'm enthused about. It had a nice run yesterday, a nice 8 or 9 cent increase, which is a big percentage rise yesterday, despite the fact that it just come out and raised $9.1 million. So I think that has to be encouraging.
Yeah, looks very, very interesting. I mean, the size, again, I think the market has some misperceptions of the whole deposit. So it will take some time for people to realize that, this is real. It's a good deposit.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the complaints I've heard about it, we've had a couple of newsletter writers in this show talk about it. One is that it's more of a nickel and copper project than it is anything else, than it is platinum group metals. Well, it is. It does have a lot of nickel, that's for sure, but it also has a lot of PGMs, a little gold as well. And the other thing was the metallurgical issues. I think probably the biggest idea is, or question mark in a lot of investors' minds, is whether or not whether or not they can get it out economically, get the PGMs out economically. But my sense is that they will be able to do that, and I guess we'll find out for sure. But yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Chen. That is certainly one of my favorites as well. You've done very well. One of the things that I really admire about you, Chen, is you're able to sort of go out there and find certain sectors at different times where there's an opportunity to make money, and you seem to get there before a lot of other people do. For example, you've done very well in the biotechs this year. What are a couple of biotech favorites, or do you still like that sector, or there's certain companies within that sector, I guess, that you're really fond of still?
Yeah, the biotech, I would more correct you that did very well actually in the past 2 years. And this year actually was not a very good year for biotech. My biotech had went down, except with a few I have, I did very well with some Ebola plays, but I'm already out of those. But right now I'm still holding, but it's a reduced position, Sarepta, and also holding Neptune. Okay, so those are interesting biotech, but next year, you have to look into next year now, because the catalyst will come next year.
Mm-hmm. So you think there's some hope for those stocks next year?
Yeah, there are hopes. But right now, immediately, there could be some tax loss selling, actually, from now to
yeah,
actually,
right.
It's time to pick up some stock on the cheap.
Yeah.
But
well, that's certainly right. I mean, some of us, those of us that have been in the gold industry are sellers during this tax loss season. I went through my list and got rid of a whole lot of names. I asked myself, are these things worth more as a tax loss or as worth more as a tax loss or just to hold them and looking for the longer term? But both Sarepta and Neptune are a couple I guess you like, and possibly more so next year. I guess maybe some approvals from the FDI, from the regulatory agencies.
Sarepta, right. Mainly it's a catalyst. Sarepta mainly catalyst next year for the FDA approval. Yeah, Neptune really is the production ramp up next year. Okay.
Yeah, you've done. I think you were very bullish, and I don't know what your views are on oil. I must ask you because oil obviously has taken quite a hit in the last couple of months or so. What is your outlook for oil right now, Chen?
Yeah, actually, I wasn't very bullish on oil since last year. Actually, if you recall, I was shorting oil. I thought the supply-demand kind of imbalance. There's oversupply and anything. Last year, I already saw that. Unfortunately, oil didn't go down until this year. Actually, the reason is more geopolitics. Geopolitics is probably a fancy name for market manipulation by the government, right?
Maybe the government and their crony capitalist friends.
Yeah, it didn't go down, and then when they went down very fast this summer. It's what I feel is really Saudi and United States government maybe together with Goldman or other broker in the market just push down the oil price to hurt Russia, to hurt Iran, to hurt Venezuela. Right now, all these countries they don't like. So from supply demand marketing, if we look at a pure market economy point of view, I think oil price is bottom. But for political point of view, I do not know, because I don't know what the government wants the oil to be. They may want to be lower, maybe want to 60s, 70s. But my take is that the lower it push, actually later on, the higher will bounce.
Right.
Fortunately for me and for my subscriber, I saw that because I had a bearish view of oil since last year. So I saw the oil coming down in early September. You can see, if you see that, oil is still almost $100. I told my subscriber to get out of oil stocks. Mm-hmm. So that was a very lucky call for me and for subscribers who listen to follow me, because we got out a lot of position and we raised a lot of cash. And actually, right now I'm busy buying gold miners and buying other.
All right, so I want to get to that with the few minutes we have left. I think though, before I do, just want to ask you a couple of your favorites, very low cost oil producers, Mart and Pan Orient. You still like them for the long term?
Oh, yeah, I still love both in the long term. And Mark, just waiting for the pipeline. The pipeline has been really a disappointment. There has been delay after delay after delay.
Yeah.
Plus, oil price came down, Nigeria, Ebola. I mean, there's sellers all over. You can see the volume. Someone just want to get out. That's fine. I think it's a fine company going forward. But I checked with management many times. They're not going to dilute at this price. They basically had debt covering the period until the new pipeline was supposed to be this month. I hope. Last time they said definitely by the end of the year, and then so we'll take their words. And once the new pipeline come in, they can quadruple their production.
So it should. So there's upside. You feel even if we don't get a big run up in the gold in the oil price, there's a good just on the production. All right, my engineer's telling me I only have a couple of minutes left here yet, Chen. So I've got to go quickly on to gold. James Turk was talking about how a lot of these bullion banks have really written a lot of calls at $1,200 and have sort of drawn a line in the sand. And you mentioned that you thought, this is sort of an epic battle taking shape here at around 1,200. Gold briefly broke through 1,200 last week, and you started getting more bullish on it. And as I look at the gold market right now, the COMEX in New York, we're looking at $11.99, $1 under that magic 1,200 mark. It seems as though there is quite a battle to keep the price of gold suppressed. I think the bullion banks don't want to have to give up the gold, apparently, if it were to go above that call price. But what do you think? Are we going to get through this $1,200 price, and then answer that, and then tell us maybe one or two of your favorite gold shares that you really like at this time?
Right, the gold. It's right now you can see in the past few days, every time gold go up above $1,200, there's a push down. Right?
Yep.
I mean, almost every day there's a 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can see the gold went down. Actually,
it's about the time that London is closing shop.
Exactly. I had to change my lunch schedule. I have to have lunch at 11. Seriously. So I can watch the gold at 12. It just, when they drop, I just buy some. It's very simple because you can see every time, every day, when they push down below 1,200, it's getting weaker and weaker. So I think we have a good shot to push through, okay? I don't know what catalyst will be if Swiss can win the referendum, which market doesn't count on it. There's a report that just came out today that, if a yes vote, gold will explode. If it's no vote, it's in the market because nobody believes it will pass anyway. So
yeah, I don't think most people believe it will pass. Well, Chen, let me ask you, because we're just about out of time. Oceana Gold has been one of your favorites. Do you still like that one a lot?
Yeah,
and is there another one or
two
that you might like a lot?
Exactly. You want to stick with high quality gold assets. Okay, all the gold went down, and then gold will go up. And what will drive gold price up? One part of it will be fund inflow. The fund will go to the best gold miners. And then secondly, you want to avoid the miners that need to raise money. Every time you raise money, you got 15-20% haircut.
Yep.
And so that's Oceana, the cash cost is negative. Right? So they are generating incredible cash flow. The only thing they're probably looking for, acquire some company, I don't know. But the company management has been very, very prudent. So in the past many years, they resist any deal that's not adding to the shareholder value. So I have trust in them. I think it's a very good stock to own.
Oceana Gold. And before we say goodbye today, Chen, what is the symbol on Oceana Gold for our listeners?
Yeah, OGC on the Toronto Stock Exchange.
Excellent. Very good. Yeah, Chen, we'll have to have you back when we talk some more. We're out of time, but I really want to thank you for coming on and sharing your ideas with our listeners once again, and we'll look forward to doing it again soon.
Thank you, Jay.